Story 1, AITA for canceling all of our streaming services to hire a housekeeper without asking my husband first. My 28F and my husband 30 meters just welcomed our first baby almost 3 months ago. Understandably, it has been a huge adjustment for both of us. She's still not sleeping through the night and we're both back to work full time. We have always split the household responsibilities 50-50. We just help where needed and it's always worked out well. Lately, my husband has been doing the chores terribly and I've had to come behind him to fix things or clean them again. For example, he cleaned the bottles the other night and they were cleaned so poorly I had to do them again. He dropped pump parts down the disposal and then ran it, ruining them. There have been several clothes that he didn't clean after a blowout that are now ruined. There are many more instances like this. I've confronted him a few times, letting him know we all make mistakes and I know we're both tired, but it feels like Hess not even trying to do things well. He just keeps saying Hess so tired and is having a hard time working and taking care of the house and baby. I do sympathize with this as I'm also working, pumping, recovering, and taking care of the house and baby. The final straw for me was when he told me to go to sleep and had put up the milk had just pumped and finished the dishes. I was so grateful until I got up and realized the milk had been sitting on the counter and at this point was no good anymore. He said he was sorry and he put on a show to relax for a bit before doing the dishes and fell asleep. The next day I decided to cancel all of our streaming services, PlayStation Plus, and our theme park passes in order to hire a housekeeper. I figured if Hess too tired to do basic household chores, then a housekeeper is necessary. If Hess too tired to put milk up, then Hess too tired to play video games or for us to go to a theme park. We still have cable and the PlayStation games and can do other activities outside of the local theme park. He blew up at me and said I had no right doing that and was furious. I thought I was doing us a favor so we can get more sleep and not worry as much about household tasks. So AITA for hiring a housekeeper without asking? Edit to add, I see a lot of comments about communication. I have been communicating nonstop about my needs and my expectations. I've let a lot of mistakes slide because I know this is hard for both of us, but when it became a daily thing I let him know if Hess unable to do his part, then I need additional help. I mentioned hiring some help, and he laughed and said what a ridiculous waste of money. I knew if I asked again, the answer would be no, so I made the decision for both of us. Also, I didn't throw away the TV or PlayStation. I just canceled our subscriptions for them. We were paying around $100 between the two. Our internet includes a handful of cable channels and Peacock, and we have plenty of PlayStation games that we can still play. We both play video games and watch TV. I probably watch more on streaming, so canceling them affects both of us. Housekeeping is $300 a month and everything I canceled including Disney passes is about $230, so it won't be as much of a financial burden. Plus it will save more money as well since I won't have to replace destroyed pump parts, clothes, and breast milk. Sweek's Dream says, NTA. You tried communicating, and when he dismissed hiring help, you made a practical choice. Canceling subscriptions to afford a housekeeper benefits both of you by easing the load. Another conversation might help, but your decision makes sense. Bonus Mill says, wait, did you cancel these things in order to afford the cleaner service? Or did you cancel it because you think it's taking up time? Savior01 says, America sucks. No way should a parent be back working full-time after having a baby. As a father I got 5 months full pay leave and my wife went back part-time after 12 months. Story 2, AITA for agreeing with my mom that it's kind of pathetic my wife can't cook. I 28M have been married to my wife 31F for about a year. Overall, things are great, but one thing that's been bugging me is that my wife doesn't know how to cook at all. I've always been the one to handle meals, which I was fine with in the beginning because I enjoy cooking. But over time, it's started to wear on me, especially when I come home after a long day at work and still have to cook dinner while she relaxes. She refuses to cook and claims there is nothing wrong with not being able to cook. It's been an ongoing issue between us. I have been trying to teach her, but she is really bad at it. Many conversation about this the other night. My mom 56F came over for dinner. As usual, I was in the kitchen preparing everything, and my wife was sitting with my mom. At one point, my mom offered to help, and I asked if she could make the gravy or cut some fruit. My wife was standing around in the kitchen when my mom handed her a knife and asked her to cut some fruit while she handled the gravy. My wife couldn't figure out how to hold it properly and ended up making a mess. My mom watched her fail to cut the fruit and then blurted out, "It's honestly kind of pathetic that you don't even know how to cut a piece of fruit at your age." She then went behind her and started to guide her how to cut stuff like you do with a kid. My wife kinda shrugged and finished cutting her fruit with my mom guiding her. Dinner happens and I noticed my wife was not happy the whole night. My mom left and she was pissed I didn't defend her. Then I embarrassed her by letting it happen. We got into a bad argument and I told her that it is pathetic she cannot even cut fruit. She is literally older than me and can't hold a knife properly. She told me that is not the point and I needed to defend her and it's not her fault she is bad at cooking. I point out it is, and she is embarrassed because not being able to hold a knife properly is embarrassing. For an adult, my wife thinks I am a huge jerk at it. I cannot keep up. Over 2,000 comments and I have things to do. If you have an info may already be answer in a previous comment, so update. I definitely think this is weaponized incompetence. I will suggest marriage counseling and cooking classes. If things don't change I will be out. I will make this very clear also for those asking. It was strawberries. She was smushing them and cutting them with the stems still on. Name plus 87654 says, how did she survive before she met you? Tuluxon says, does she do the dishes help clean up? I don't think it really matters which partner does the cooking necessarily, as long as the other is helping, and the standard deal that almost everyone seems to follow is that if one person cooks, the other person cleans up. In my house, my wife usually cooks and I usually clean, which is fine because she enjoys cooking and is good. I'm okay. I can cook but she's definitely better. My mom and stepfather though are essentially the opposite. She got home from work late usually and isn't a great cook anyways, so he cooks and she does the dishes. And yes, it is kind of pathetic that she can't even use a knife. Even if you aren't a good cook, you should at least be able to figure out how to hold a knife. That's just silly. The Hellcat says, NTA, these comments are wild. Every adult should know basic cooking skills in order to feed themselves, such as using a knife safely to cut fruit. She had this coming to her one way or another, honestly. Thanks for watching. I love you. Follow Reddit Echoes for more.